Okay, so before we do the projects in this course, we want to go through the different sections for Tailwind CSS. So in this video, we're going to be discussing the background sections for the classes in Tailwind CSS. So let's go ahead and start with the background color section. Now, there's many different colors you can use. So to use the background class, you just have to write BG and then followed by the color that you want. For example, BG black will give us the black color, BG white will give us the white color. And also, if you want to have a shade of that color, you can use the -50, -100, -200. And you can do BG transparent as well to make it transparent. So again, it's very easy to use the colors with the backgrounds. All you have to do is just BG to indicate it's a background color, and then put in the color that you want, and then the shade as well if you want it. So the higher the number, the darker the shade. Okay, so now let's move on to using it. So as you can see over here, we have BG green. We can change it to BG blue, for example, and then it will make it into a blue button. Now let's go down and let's talk about the opacity. So it's very simple again. You just have to use BG opacity, and the higher the opacity, the darker, basically darker it is, and the less the opacity, the more transparent it is. It's very self-explanatory. And let's go down now. We have the responsivity for Tailwind. All we have to do is use the different, like for example, if we want to use a specific color for medium devices, we just have to write MD and then we write the color that we want. For large devices, LG. For small devices, SM. Okay, so on and so forth. Now we have the hover effect. To use the hover, all we have to do is just have a hover in front of the color that we want, and then when we hover over it, then the color will change to what we want it to. For example, over here we're using 700, so the shade of red will be higher, so it will be darker. And let's go on the focus now. So when we click on this, it will become more white. As you can see, the background color is gray with a shade of 200, and when we click on it, it will become white. So background opacity is very simple as well. You just put in the BG, which is background, and then you put in the opacity, and then the number of the opacity. The higher it is, the more opaque it is, and then the less it is, the more transparent it is. Self-explanatory. Now let's move on to background origin. So to have this nice effect, just like a postal stamp, it has that cool effect around it to give it that origin and that authenticity. You can use background origin border, and then or you could use background origin padding as well to give it more padding, as you can see in number 2. And if you want to give it some, if you want to make it, if you use content, then it will show up just like it is, just like it shows in number 3. And also, let's go down now. So that's basically, we're not going to really use that, but just it's worthwhile covering it. Now, background position. So it's very simple. I mean, it's very common sense. As you can see, if you go down on the usage section, we can see if you do BG left top, it will stick the background to the left and to the top. If you just do BG top, it will stick it to the top. BG right top, it will stick it to the top right corner, so on and so forth. So now let's go on the background repeat. So with background repeat, you can have a background that basically keeps on repeating until it fills the entire screen, or you can have no repeat, which basically just does it once, just shows the background once, as you can see over here. You can have repeat horizontally as well, so that it's just repeated horizontally. Again, it's very simple stuff. You can just go on the Tailwind documentation, and anything you want to use, you want to go into detail, you can just go and see it over here. You have repeat vertically, again, just vertical repeat. So you just do BG repeat Y, and that will repeat it vertically. Okay, now let's move on to background size. So with background size, okay, so background size is quite self-explanatory as well. Auto, what it does, it basically shows it automatically to its default size. So whatever the image size is going to show it as it is. We have cover. Now if you use BG cover, what it will do, it will basically cover the entire area, that's the entire div that it's in. So that's basically, there's no white spaces. If we go down now, we have contain. Contain will basically make the image as large as it can be without modifying the aspect ratio, and also without cropping it. We have responsive as well. So responsive will basically make it responsive. And